Okie dokie, I'm just going to go through one last little video about how to fix some of your alignment issues that you might run into in InDesign. And it's really just a point of looking as carefully as you can with the preview off. In other words, click that W key so that you can see your margins, you can see your text and image frames, and you can just find some of the problems. So right off the bat, I can tell that this image box needs to be pulled to the margin over there so that it fits. That's a teeny tiny problem. What I'm going to do is, if I do go on preview, what I'm not happy about is the fact that the headline and the logo up here are basically just falling off the top of the page, and we want to keep them as far away from that edge of the page as we can. So this is what you can do. Now, I already see there's some guides on here. That's great. I'm going to pull this guide that's already down there right down to the bottom of the text box. I mean, not the text box, I'm sorry, the photo boxes on the first row. And then I'm going to actually pull another guide down to the top of the next row of image boxes. And this is my little trick. I take a shape, a square, a rectangle frame, and I just pull it out to that exact size. And I don't want to have a stroke on it, but I do want to have a fill because I just want to see what's going on with it. And what this is going to be, if you can imagine, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, is it is telling me it is going to be kind of like my little ruler. And if I go down and I pull another guide down to the next row of images, and the bottom of these images is what I also want to get. Let me make sure that's right. So you have to be kind of precise with this stuff. So I'm seeing that this little rectangle I made, this pink rectangle, is the space between the bottom of one image box and the top of the other. And I'm going to check that it's the same on this one, and it is not. So that's a problem, and that might be a problem that's a good problem, because maybe that will help us fit more of these elements in together. So all you have to do, because this is all aligned, everything is in pretty good alignment, is I'm just going to rubber band it by I click my cursor down and I pull across so that I have now selected the image frames and the text frames. Oh, and then one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to pull another guide down so that I know where I'm going to. And I use the arrow tools when it's just this kind of little tiny movement. So I'm going to click up, 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 and there we go. Now, these are all evenly spaced, which they probably were at some point with the step and repeat, but something got messed up along the way. So now you can see that's correct, and we're going to take this guide, which is confusing, and put it away, because now these are correct. So what we have is we could actually pull everything down a little bit. So I'm actually going to kind of grab everything. And if you see how I do that, I just click with my black arrow tool, my cursor's click down, and I kind of grab it all, and then I use my keyboard arrow tools to go down to where I want to go. So maybe if we want to sit on that pink margin, that's where we're going to go. So that's a tiny bit better, but it's not really good enough. So I'm going to go in and show you just some quick stuff that you could do with the type. If I go into each text box and I see that this part, that the leading on each one of these, and the leading is this one. Remember, this is the point size of this selected type, and this is the leading. It's the space between each line of type. You've got it all. This student has it all at 12. What if we just grab that much of it and we make it 11? And we make this 11 all the way across the board. And this is the kind of thing you want to do. For one thing, you want to not use automatic with leading, which is what that 12 was. You want to actually control the leading. It's very important in terms of learning how to fit text in. So I'm just going to each one. Notice I'm not grabbing the number. I've decided to let that be because that's kind of a different font and everything. And zoom down a little bit. I'm going to do the last 4 rather. So I'm making them all 11-point leading. Now the typeface itself looks like it's kind of, some of it's at 10, the text is kind of at 10, so that's still pretty good. So now we've given ourselves a little bit more space again. So then again, you might just grab everything with your cursor, using the keyboard arrow tools, just very gently bring it down, and we're in better shape. Now, if we want to, we could do some new things, because I'm actually seeing we could take each row, meaning the row of the images and of the type, and select those. And I'm going to just, let's see, we could just push them down. So I'm going to use the keyboard arrow key again, and I'm going to remember how many times I click. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm going to this one, and I'm grabbing all 8 of those, and I'm gunning again the keyboard arrow key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's funny how it's kind of, now the bottom of the text is lining up with this guide. That was completely inadvertent. And we should do it here too, even though it's going to bring us down a little bit below, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so you're seeing what we've got here. Now, if we bring this down a little bit, so I'm going to grab the Gucci headline and the logo, and I'm going to just bring that down a little bit. That's kind of okay to me, to be a little bit above. And the Gucci logo, maybe we make that a little bit smaller by going to Command Shift and then pulling down from the corner. Maybe that fits in here a little bit, and maybe even a little bit more. Oops. So that's, you've got to go Command Shift and then just drag in from the corner handle. That is a lot smaller, but maybe we don't care. So something like that looks a lot better, and it's really pretty close to getting the margins in, and we haven't done that much to really change anything in terms of just really, we adjusted it with the leading and just some making sure that we have consistent spaces between things. And you could always double check it again, but using a little rectangle is sometimes a really great way to do it. So again, it's like there, and it's there, and we're good to go. Okay? That's my tip.